And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the TNA Sacrificed post show. I am Bobby Munson, and I am joined by my co-host over on Killer Cuts, which we got to get back to that very, very soon. It is the natural astridpizarro. Astrid, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me on this adventure here tonight.
No, I had to. I mean, we enjoyed talking about TNA last time, and I figured out I'm making you a fan, so might as well keep going with that trend and take advantage of it while I can. So, plus we have Hammerstone, so that helped me on my end as well.
It really did, yes, but we will get to Hammerstone in a little while. We got a lot to go through here on this particular show, and we're going to say hello to our good friend and your co-host on Take It Over, Ed Fries with more Ole. Ed, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us here on the post show. And before we even get to, I know we're going to let you talk about the pre-show in a bit, but let's just get this out of the way. There was some serious technical difficulties at the start of this particular program, at least for a couple of matches. But, you know, good old PCO brought it all back. Everything got fixed once PCO came to the ring. Fantastic. A lot of pixelization, a lot of missed connections, and all sorts of wacky stuff going on there. And they got it rolling. I mean, bless TNA, they try, they're understanding, and they're respectful about it. They're doing what they can. So kudos to them. Thumbs up for actually caring.
Yeah, I know they responded very well last time to one of the pay-per-views, like I mentioned to you, because the women's match that didn't happen during the card, and they actually released it like a day or two after on the YouTube channel to everybody. And even the last time we had, I think it was Speedball and Josh Alexander, like that Iron Man match, they automatically put it on the channel the next day as well, because when people wanted to watch it. So I know they're quick to respond about it. I definitely feel like it affected my viewing tonight. That's the only part of it, because I feel like not only was not I able not to take great notes about it, because I'm like trying to figure out what's happening, and then the audio wasn't working either, and in the interruptions and the stay tuned, and then I was like, is it me? Is it everybody? It didn't help. But yeah, I feel like later on, obviously PCO came on the screen and he fixed everything for us, so we're good.
He sure did. And good morning to you, Barry Monkey, joining us from jolly old England there. A good 7-hour difference to myself. So, yeah, it's nice and early. Hope you got some, how did they say, bangers of mash for breakfast going on there, Barry, this morning. But did you enjoy TNA Sacrifice, Barry? We'll get your answer very shortly. But Astrid, let me let everybody know what happened on the pre-show. I didn't get to the computer in time, so pre-show didn't have it for me. Let everyone know the couple of matches we did get.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they had a pre-show because other tweets at 8 p.m., so I figured there was probably nothing happening. But just myself, I ended up checking just in case something did happen. Thanks to Ed last time, because I almost missed the show. I missed a Chase U match because of the pre-show announcement situation. So I always check now because of that. But no, they opened the show with Crazy Steve versus Hendry for the Digital Media Championship. This was being that the pre-show is about 30 minutes, the matches don't last too long, so there's nothing much to it. Plus, not only that, but the digital difficulties that we had, it didn't help on that aspect either. But the beginning of it, I was able to see at least. And we had Joe Hendry making fun of Crazy Steve, making fun of him for being a baby and showing graphics and the song of him being a baby. This was also one match that was changed because I believe it was a Laredo kid that was supposed to get this match, and because of travel issues, he was replaced by Joe Hendry last minute. So this is something that wasn't really built up in that aspect of it, just like a last minute thing that happened. I'm glad they're also able to TNA respond in such a way to have a replacement right away like this, and it makes sense for somebody like Joe Hendry being the longest reigning digital media champion we've had so far. So obviously with the how it's brewing so far between both of them, we had AJ Francis come in and obviously had to get involved in there somewhere, so Crazy Steve retained the digital media championship. So that's what happened on that end. Then we had an interview with the Rascalz and Steve Maclin. Steve tells the Rascalz that he's good to do it alone, so just do your match and then be done. You don't have to obviously help me out or anything like that. So then their match happens. It was the Rascalz versus Speedball Mountain, which is Speedball Mike Bailey and Trent Sabin together. This one, another one, was just like the difficulties really took me out of it as well, so it didn't help out in that aspect. But in the end, it was Speedball Mountain winning. Not a fan though of them winning over established team. That's the only thing that really bothered me about this match. Speedball and Trent Seven only started teaming up in recent weeks, so that definitely I didn't like. But again, this is a reason to take out the Rascalz out of the equation, so Steve Maclin can actually be by himself for his match versus Nick Nemeth, which is what actually opened the show.
So I got to go to some of these comments here in the comment section because this is good. First, Barry saying he missed the pre-show. We'll have to back and watch. And Ed saying, "Yay, more AJ Styles." Wait, you said Francis. Oh well, he's a different story, and we did have this discussion when we were on the show as well too. And Barry also saying, "Blocky, blurry, bloke versus blocky, blurry, broke in the first match was excellent." And yeah, let's talk about that because the opening match, I was excited when this came out. We got Nick Nemeth, Steve Maclin going 1-on-1, and the 90% of this match that I saw was fantastic and one of the most solid matches of the entire night. It really got the crowd pumped up into it. There was a reason they got the "This is awesome" chant going. These two guys put on a hell of a show. I think my only gripe, and I spoke to you about this, was about the commentary kind of almost labeling Ziggler like he's the outsider, he's a heel, that he's sucking up the TV time from the hardworking people of TNA. Yet Maclin was clearly working heel inside of the ring itself. So the framing from commentary was a little off, but the match itself, absolutely incredible. And there's a reason that Nick Nemeth released onto the independent scene and going where he wants is a blessing to TNA. It's a blessing to New Japan and everywhere that this guy performs.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just another thing with, again, this one especially was really affected by that, technical difficulties. We had to have the blank screen for a couple of seconds there, and the audio was kind of off towards the end there as well. But from what I was able to see, because I'm going to continue saying that tonight for a little while, I enjoyed the match. There was a point that I think it really shocked both of us by the way it happened. It just, when Steve goes to do this kind of shoulder dive towards Nick Nemeth, and Nick has managed to get out of the way, and Steve just lands by the commentary table / ring bell area. And holy crap, that was nasty to watch. It's like, I was wondering if he was even alive to begin with, but that was probably the one that really stood out to me the most. It took that moment for him to get back in the ring and for the action to continue on. I definitely love the mind games from Nick, though, doing the KIA to Steve himself there towards the end. But again, I enjoyed it, and at the end, we have Nick Nemeth with the win.
Yeah, very big win. We got Bobby Stats in the chat here with us saying Nick Nemeth did have a great match tonight. He certainly did, and him and Steve Maclin can go ahead and wrestle some more, because if they wrestle like that, I will watch over and over again. What a great addition to the TNA roster that Nick Nemeth is. Great way to open the show, and despite the difficulties, I will go back and watch this one once I can get a full 100% clear video and audio as well too, and go through it again, because this was good. This was easily one of the, not only the better matches tonight, but it is a strong contender for one of the better matches of 2024 at the moment too. It was that good.
Yeah, it really was.
What we got Barry saying is, I think he went a bit further than intended. The ring announcer looked like she scraped herself. Yeah, and I felt that way. I think that he was supposed to do the shoulder with the clap on the other side against the turnbuckle, or against the post. He might have had intent to swing his body to the outside of the ring, but he overshot that like nobody's business. And I watched it and I'm like, holy yes, I think this guy is dead. I legitimately think we just witnessed a death in pro wrestling live on pay-per-view. But luckily enough, Steve Maclin, 100% fine, managed to get through this, and we were treated to an absolute banger of a match. Crafters. Okay. Fair enough, Barry. Thanks for the correction. I'm glad that was the corrected word for us. Give me Nick Nemeth versus Hammerstone in future at TNA, especially with the way they're building. We'll get to that in a little bit. We'll talk about what happened with Hammer here tonight very shortly, Bobby, but great suggestion for sure. Yes, from there, we got match number 2. Blocky match number 2 of the evening is a blocky tag team matchup. This one got even worse, because this one I felt like I had a harder time getting into as a result of the constant interruptions and the fact that it hadn't gone proper from there. But we had Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, the System, taking on ABC. Belts are on the line. And I don't really have a lot that I can say or add to this situation. I'm not familiar with ABC. They seem great. They seem cohesive as a tag team. I like Eddie Edwards quite a bit, but I just don't know that the system interests me in any way, shape, or form.
I get how you feel. It to me, it's almost feels like kind of like a random people put it together in a way, even though the storyline does make sense, and at the same time. But I get how you're feeling this. I did like more than anything in this match is that I feel like they had ABC's number in the aspect of they knew how they worked, so they divided in the ring top of half, and it took care of Bay for most of the match until the Ace. Like I was seeing like almost halfway through the match is when he got that hot tag, and you were able to see that obviously while Bay was recovering, A was trying to do what he could to go against the system. But obviously they not only they had the numbers advantage, but they had Alisha at ringside as well, which is obviously an advantage to them in the ends. And just when you think like things are picking up and you see Ace Austin taking advantage and picking up the speed, she sweeps him off his feet, so that obviously doesn't help at the end either. To add more to it, so I feel like when we had those moments of like maybe Ace was kind of picking it up for the team, Alicia helps, and at the end it doesn't help them when we have the system as new tag team champions. Again, this is another one that I'm not a fan of it because not only because obviously it's the system, but it's just because I just love ABC so much, and they're such an established team only for the system to come up, and they just started not too long ago for them to gain those championships. But we know why at the end, because they're trying to take over as the heels in this bigger group and trying to give them that advantage later on. So it does make sense, but I'm just still not a fan of it though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Bobby mentioning that ABC, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay are great as tag team and single wrestlers as well. I can get behind that, Bobby. I think I agree with Barry here, saying that when ABC and Edwards were in the ring, it was okay. But when Myers comes in, it seemed off key. And I think it's just, it might be a disconnect in the styles, especially bringing Myers into there, where Edwards is a little bit more adaptable. I don't find that Myers is. And so this felt very disjointed at times. And not that I disliked it. I don't want to say I disliked it. I was taken out of it. A lot of that was due to the technical difficulties, and I think I should give it another watch. But I do agree that the system, yeah, just not for me. Now we'll go to some funny comments from our good friend Ed Fries. Like, too bad the blurriness wasn't when Flop Dollar was on the screen.
No.
Kudos to that, Ed. Is Lish an advantage? LOL. Kidding. She's okay. Be nice, Mr. Fries. It's International Women's Day.
True.
I see Ace, NWO, Matt Taven, Austin next week. Sounds like you're going to have some stuff to come talk about on a upcoming episode of Point of View there with me, Ed. and Bobby saying I prefer Brian Myers tag team with Matt Cardona. Fair enough. So I think we've said all we can say about this particular match. We have new tag team champions, and now we're going to move on to the savior of the system, PCO. Frankenstein himself comes out here, and I said it before it started. I said, watch all these technical difficulties, and the PCO match versus Khan, the one I have the least interest in, is going to go and clean this whole thing up. And sure enough, PCO saves the day by saving the speed, but then ruins it by a match that I still had zero interest in by the end of it. I don't know anything about Khan, or at least I think I've seen him before. I don't know anything about him. I don't know if I care to know anything about him.
No! Do you remember the Ascension in NXT?
Yeah, okay. I thought so. I wondered. I think I'd rather him go back.
Yeah, he was also in the NXT game show when he was the little rats in Alberto Del Rio was his pro. If that helps.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'd be more interested if it wasn't a no holds barred versus PCO. I was like, I kept looking. I'm like, this guy looks familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint it, and I didn't bother to look it up. But maybe against somebody else, I could get behind this. And there we go. He was a victor. Thank you, Bobby. That helping out my poor uneducated wrestling brain. The system needs someone that's good on the mic. Well, they're a long shot from that, my friend. They can call me. Munson Management Services are open for business. I haven't got a single call yet, but you know, the lines are always open.
Yeah. For me, it was the same for this match. It's like I like Khan, and I want him to get that push as like a bigger guy, because we didn't get that from him before. And you know, this one was tough because I'm like, I like PCO and the aspect of like, yeah, that's cool, but at the same time, I'm like, I've seen this so many times by now. It doesn't hit the same anymore.
No.
So that's the only part of like, of course, that one it has to be when the whole streaming gets fixed is when PCO's on my screen. And it's like amazing. The other thing I can say is like the visual in itself of having like a big guy drop PCO on the stage the way he did for the kind of like a little choke stand that he did, and the way that PCO just bounced off the floor, I was like, so they're really pushing him to be obviously like that next generation, like the bigger guys in that aspect. So obviously you put PCO, I guess them to show that off a little more and to show like how as a visual of you when you see during the match how powerful he is too. But again, this probably like you said, this is probably the match that I had the least interest in. So I didn't really care who won this, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it to me, it was a filler match. That's all it really served a purpose
Yeah.
of. I stand corrected. I could be more interested in Khan, given that he was given something better to work with. I nothing against PCO on a personal level. It just the shtick is old, tired for me. It doesn't do anything for me to watch no holds barred moves and that's all it is. To me, it's moves. It's nothing memorable. It's just stuff that happens and it's unnecessary. And the spot when PCO went through the ropes with the what do you even call it? Like I'm lost for words, but when he went through, did the dive that kind of rolls over, and he skinned the top of his head on the ramp. I'm like, first of all, people shouldn't be taking those risks if they don't know that they're going to get out of that one alive in the first place. And
Yeah.
somebody at the advanced age of a PCO should not be trying to do these things, period. I don't want to watch somebody die on screen.
Yeah.
That's not of interest. So please, PCO, understand your age eventually and don't kill yourself in the ring. That's all I ask.
I don't know how he does it, to be honest. It just is one of those things like no matter what he does, he still goes even at it like even further and further every single time. I don't know. I really don't know. And I feel like it happens every single time you get him, whatever match it is, and then he ends up winning at the end. And just like at the same time, I know where he's coming from, but I'm just tired of the same thing all over again.
Barry saying PCO's outfit is terrible, as in the green face, but he does like PCO as a wrestler. I mean, I used to like the Quebecers when I was a kid. I loved me some Quebecers, so yay PCO. But moving on from there, let's talk about some women's tag team action on this card. With titles on the line, we have the newly formed team of Spitfire. That's Jody, Threat, and Dani Luna taking on the team of MK Ultra, who jump attack them on the entrances. And I immediately think to myself, oh no, this match is going to be over in a quick hurry. We just got as much time as we did with PCO on screen, and they're going to wipe one of two women's matches on International Women's Day off in seconds. But they didn't. They didn't. So thank you, TNA, for being respectful still and giving us a quality tag team match in the end with an interesting surprise that I'm going to let you take over and talk all about after.
Yeah, to obviously give a background story to like catch up people on that aspect. They literally just lost the tag team championships not too long ago, when DK returned, and then they just won them obviously not too long ago as well. So when this match started, I was thinking after the attack, they're just gonna take one of them inside the ring, pin them, and the match is done, and then that's gonna shock everybody else as well. And then thinking in a way it will make sense being that it's two singles competitors versus a team that's been established for quite a bit at this point. So I was expecting that too. It's like, so when the bell rang, I was expecting I think it was Masha doing something to Jody and then the match being done. That was on my head as well. So being that they were to fight back, the match in itself was still kind of short because we didn't really get at anything of Dani inside the ring. I did like that aspect of like you see Dani even from outside of ringside after everything that she went through, she kind of slipped up Killer Kelly from the apron, having Masha to deal with Jody by herself, and that helped with Jody pinning Masha and winning the championships. And still, it was very shocking. Even Dani, like I just saw the direct reaction from Dani at ringside. She's like putting her face on the apron after she just slipped out Kelly. She's like, did that just happen? I didn't even get in. But the way she just hugged Jody was really precious to see as well. But again, it's another shocking moment because we had MK Ultra lost to DK not too long ago first. only for them to get these challengers, and then now they lost to them too. And then at the end, we get a little rough patch between Masha, Slamovich, and Killer Kelly. So that will be interesting moving forward if we do get them against each other now.
Now, I got to ask, do you foresee them immediately breaking those two up to lead to a feud, or do they hang on to them as tag team competitors a little while longer to continue to bolster the KO's tag team division?
I will have them at least have one rematch that will cost them. It was like once they lose that rematch, then it will kind of happen of like kind of like that breakup happening after the match happens, or maybe the week after, something along those lines to like give you a little bit more extra there, and then having them against each other, which I think is probably going to happen next.
Sounds good. And as Bobby coming in to say, it was great to see Dani, Luna, and Jody threat as women's tag team. Yes, it was. They're both great competitors, got great careers ahead of them. So fantastic. And congratulations to the and new KO knockout women's tag team champions.
Yeah. And it's if I'm not mistaken, the first it's most of the championships, like the first ones for both Dani, Luna, and Jody there. So that's awesome to see. And I was mistaken. Dani removed Masha from the match, and then Killer Kelly got pinned by Jody. So that's why Masha was mad at her. But it still is. I like how is the both are obviously new champions, first time champions in TNA as well.
Yeah. And again, all four of these women have great careers ahead of them, and I really adore the work that you put in. I think the KO's division, I've said it many times before, is one of the best women's divisions in all of professional wrestling, and I'm glad that they still showed that and displayed that, and again showed it with their champion that we're going to talk about here that again should have been the main event, but we'll get to that momentarily once we get to that matchup. Let's go to Bobby here. TNA should find more women's tag teams. They certainly could and should, because why not keep bolstering that roster? I mean, the more you do that, the more these pay-per-views are going to pick up and the more people are going to get interested in them. Again, they're gaining more fans just by some of the signings they're bringing in, whether it be Nick Nemeth, whether it be Hammerstone, and, you know, definitely all the different women that are coming in to continue to bolster an already fantastic roster. It's awesome. It's, you know, I watched a lot of TNA in the past, and it's starting to bring me back into TNA to see all these great additions and this great card. So slowly, bit by bit, they're getting me off the MLWs. No, I'll stick with MLW, but I can add TNA. So I'll wipe out that dirty WWE stuff or something like that. Moving on from there, speaking of former MLW stuff, Alexander Hammerstone officially signed with TNA Wrestling and having his first official debut match as a signed roster member. They kept stressing that throughout this whole thing. Like, taking on Josh Alexander, I really, really enjoy the work of both these guys a lot. Loved their first match. Again, that was probably my match of the night on the last time we did this. Again, probably my match of the night here today, and it hit differently. And I could see everything building throughout the match towards heel hammer. They did the perfect thing. They've got a Canadian. You get a Canadian in the ring, it doesn't matter what quality they are. Canadians cheer for Canadians. It's just what we do. It doesn't matter if they're the worst wrestler on the planet. We will still cheer for them. Look at how over PCO is. I mean, it's just how it is. So putting Hammerstone in a match with the Walking Weapon in Canada was a surefire way to make sure that nobody showed any respect to Alexander Hammerstone throughout this whole thing. And hello, Melball College joining us. How are you doing? Japanese Wrestling Update was fantastic prior to us here tonight. As always, check out Mel and Andre every Friday night on the Japanese Wrestling Update. So yes, Hammerstone throughout this whole thing, building that heel persona that I know he's capable of, because that's what he did when he initially had his run in MLW. So I saw the writing on the wall, but this time around, compared to his original run in MLW, he's got a lot of size to him since those days too. So he's also adding that I'm the big guy, you're going to have to do everything to keep me down sort of situation. And the fans were resenting him. I heard you can't wrestle. I heard comments about steroid use during this matchup. Canadians are horrible human beings. Sometimes.
I thought you guys were nice.
Oh,
what
not
happened?
when it comes to wrestling. We are some of the slimiest human beings on the planet when it comes to wrestling. Put 6 beers in a wrestling fan in Canada, and you will hear things that need to be censored just about everywhere across the planet. And they were throwing this out at Hammer and him getting up on the ropes and posing in front of them and everything. You could hear the sea of boos at this point, and I'm like, I can see it on his face. And when the spot came about where Josh Alexander throws Hammer towards the corner and hits the referee, it almost felt like Hammer slowed down in it. And I'm like, he didn't slow down because he was trying to protect the referee in that bump. He slowed down so that he could kind of give it one of these and make it look like it was completely intentional. Like he could have stopped himself, but then he took the referee out and he turned, and he gave that smirk like it's Hammer time now kind of thing. And right there, I was like, that's the cue. And sure enough, he gets the opportunity. He goes for the low blow on Josh Alexander, hits the Nightmare Pendulum. Fantastic. This one, in my opinion, even better than the first outing with these two. And it's built a solid feud. The storytelling was different. The feel of this was different. And yet I still loved it. Alexander throwing those German suplexes on Hammerstone. What did he get? 14, 15 of those in a row. Just crushing Hammerstone. And the look on Hammer's face, like that look of fear, like, oh no, this guy figured it out. This is what you need to do. And him just kind of slyly rolling out of the ring just to get out of the grasp of Alexander. Like, I loved this. I'm a big fan of this style, and I loved what these guys did tonight.
Yeah, the other thing I would disagree with is like I like the first one better. No, but Mel, don't say that. You are nice. No, I like the first one better. I'm not saying that this match is bad, but I definitely prefer the first matchup a lot better than this one. And for me, I kept at first thinking, it was like, I like the vibes between them together. And I was like, I want them as a team now. And then the end happened, I was like, frick, never mind, cancel that. Take that away. Take that the other way. I really enjoy them together so much. I was thinking that would be great as a team for them to like shake hands at the end, be like, we should kind of like take this energy we both have and combine it and become a team. And that's the vibes that I kept getting from this match at first up until he hits the referee, and I went, well, never mind. I'm going to cancel what I just said. Delete. And it's like, I really, like, I was hoping there would be a team moving forward because I think that would have been so interesting of like, combining both of their strengths in that aspect. But I enjoyed it. I did love the part of like once he had the situation with the referee and he just looks at the camera and just gives that smirk and starts smiling. I was like, oh hell no! There's something just open inside this man that I don't know if I want to see. And it's like it's kind of when you see that transformation to Hulk, and that kind of like that smile was like the beginning of it. Once I saw that, I went, well, it's over. Josh, I loved him, man. Rest in peace. It's just like that smile just gave me everything. I was like, oh shit, this is it. It's going down. It's happening. And it's like that was my moment of like, never mind, I'm canceling that scene. But it was brilliant though. I loved it.
Yeah, and that Nightmare Pendulum every single time. I'm like, that is one of the most devastating looking moves in all of pro wrestling, and he executes it with such perfection. Like, Josh Alexander's not a small dude, and I've seen guys even bigger than that Hammer puts up and holds in place. And it's not only the fact that he can hold them in place, it's the fact that he can swing them with their legs under without connecting their feet to the bottom of the apron as he does it to pull them into that slam. Absolutely brilliant. I love this man's work, and I'm so glad he's in TNA. And wow, the great match. I'm so happy with this. As Bobby's saying, I would like to see another match at TNA Rebellion. So would I, but I'm working that night, so I can't watch it live. I'll still watch it, but I can't watch it live, unfortunately, because PPW. Barry saying Hammerstone is a bit of like a version of Brian Cage that learned how to wrestle. Well, wrestle and talk, that would be Barry.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say it's a version of Brian Cage I would like to see because he has charisma. Brian Cage doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Brian Cage is like a charisma vortex. Yes, Hammerstone does have that, and I don't think he's outside of like the little bit of promo stuff they've shown of him online. They haven't really gotten into just how good Hammer can talk on a microphone when he needs to. He does a lot of his speaking in the ring, but often people forget that he actually can talk a good game. And wait till that gets unleashed, especially with heel Hammer. I think TNA is in for a real treat moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, on from there we have six-man tag action. We've got the Grizzled Young Vets and Mustafa Ali taking on Time Machine, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, and Kushida. Every single one of these people is awesome in their own way. These matches get a little bit, they're back and forth to a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to follow with six-man tags. But still, at the same time, I was never bored. Wasn't disinterested. I like everyone involved. So this had a lot of that quick-paced, high-flying action. Mustafa Ali playing the chicken shit heel. It was just fantastic. I love that he's able to go and do that in the way that he does. He barely had to get into the ring, and he still drew more heat than almost anybody on this entire card. Great. I thought this was another solid matchup on this card, and at this point, the momentum of the entire pay-per-view was on an upswing, very much so. And to follow Hammerstone and Josh Alexander, kudos for them for doing it and not losing that audience.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I did like also the storytelling within the match because we still have the tension from Kushida and Alex Shelley because Kushida threw in the towel for Shelley. So I like how you see it from the beginning because even when they're about to do the entrance, you see Sabin and Kushida doing their pose, and Alex is like, "No, never mind," and just he keeps going, and then they're looking at him like, "What?" And then Sabin's like, "Okay, we'll keep going with it." And there was a moment that I thought towards the end of the match that he was about to hit Kushida, who was on the apron. And then I don't know what happened. Kushida at ringside, and he moved. And I was like, it was this close. I thought that he was going to hit him, and that was going to cause more tension within the group. But I like how we have those moments of like Kushida had like a submission on GYV, but then we have Ali saving them. Even with the little bits and pieces that he was in the ring, he was able to do stuff like that. But we also got a little bit of that, a little bit of overbooking in that sense of it because we still had the good hands came in, and I like how they had the triple kick from Time Machine at the same time, and Sabin having the miscommunication with Shelley, so he hits Shelley instead of hitting Ali towards the end, and then we get that 450 splash from Ali onto Shelley to win the match. So it's like you like how those moments that Ali's not often in the ring, but when he is when he does the exclamation point to win the match at the end. So it was like imagine we have Ali with this like it feels like an army behind him because we had GYV in one aspect and the good hands on the other part too. So he definitely has support on his on his side versus the other guys really don't. But again, we continue on with that part of like now it's getting to Alex Shelley's mind and his head that first Kushida threw it in the towel for him and now he loses the tag team match that they had. And you can see the tension within the team after he loses too. So I like how you can have that storytelling there as well.
And I like how you can have that match come out of it as well too, because I can get behind that coming up very, very soon. So great storytelling, as you said. Ali is fantastic. I like to see titles being defended on pay-per-views when they can. The fact that they didn't have Ali defending in a matchup, okay, I can get it because of the storytelling they're doing here, the build that they're doing to give him the right opponents. So let him off the hook for that one. But hopefully at the next one, Rebellion, despite me not being able to watch it live, that Ali will have a one-on-one for the X Division Championship.
I did. I feel bad when I put this up too. And I don't feel like they necessarily dropped the ball because they were doing fine. I just wonder what else could have been done in that aspect. Because I feel like that they were doing great with like Schism, and I enjoy what they were doing there. But I feel like they could have done a little bit more. So I wouldn't say they dropped the ball like 100%. I just feel like it's a little bit less than most people, though. If that makes sense.
I agree with you there. And as Bobby's saying, he liked watching the Grizzled Young Vets and Mustafa Ali. I think we both are in agreement there with you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyable. So, two more matches that we need to talk about, and unfortunately, we don't get to talk about this one last, even though it should have been on last, just like Jordynne Grace should have headlined last time out, too. Anyway, Jordynne Grace defending her belt against Brookside, Tasha Steelz in a three-man match for the Knockout Championship. This is exactly what it needed to be. A great, fantastic knockouts matchup between three very talented knockouts competitors. Xia Brookside has a world of potential ahead of her. Tasha Steelz is a complete badass. I really enjoy her work a lot. And Jordynne Grace is just on another level in so many ways. Really like Jordynne a lot. But I'm going to turn this over to you, Astrid, to let us know your feelings on this one and everything in this match.
Yeah, we get the beginning. As previously data broke, Ash by Excellence at ringside. She is, making her presence known every time there's something going on with the Knockouts division. Like she's scouting the talent, so she was at ringside for this one. And what I loved about it is that there was always some action in the ring. It reminds me of what happens usually when I watch any kind of multi-person matches in NXT. There was always something happening. There was no like downtime in this match. There was rarely any time anybody what's outside of the ring there. So first we have like a moment like Jordynne has Tasha there for a muscle buster. She was able to take her hand on and clothesline Zaya and then do the muscle buster on Tasha a couple of seconds later. So that was like already those moments of like I like how she can take on both of the girls almost at the same time when she's doing this. There was also one part that it was kind of weird to describe it because she had one of the girls in front of her, one of them behind her, and then if you look at it, Zaya was holding onto Tasha's feet, and then they were holding on to Jordynne. Jordynne was spinning both of them around. And if you're able to watch this match, it's such a visual because it's so hard to describe it, but it looks so incredible when you do watch it. But and then there's so many moments that Zaya kind of wants to take over being a high flyer. She does like a Black Widow while Jordynne has a submission on Tasha at the bottom of her feet there as well. So we always had those kind of moments of like she's feels like she's battling both of them, but she's so powerful and Jordynne is able to get out of everything that happens here. And there was a moment more towards the end of the match of they feel like they kind of team up on her. I saw that Zaya did kind of like she kind of stretched out Jordynne, and then when Tasha hit her, she almost hit her kind of with like a code breaker at the apron. And we also have the moment of she pushes, I believe it was no, I don't know if it was Tasha or Jordynne, but she pushes one of them in the champagne that Ash by Elegance has. It
with
gets ripped
Zaya.
on her dress, and I like Zaya's facial expression in there. And then we have Ash just freaking out. This is the champagne, and then the dress is new, and then this is the reason why she leaves ringside.
I've
But
been
I felt like this
embarrassed.
was that like I feel like it was like kind of like that turning moment there. And I don't know why. I don't know if you caught, but I noticed like even Tasha was bleeding towards the end. I don't know what caused it
Mhm.
to happen there too. It looked very nasty towards the end, but I just love. She also had, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Jordynne doing a Vader bomb to Tasha, and she was I know, and she was splashing onto Jordynne. It was such a like visual that was happening there towards the end. But at the end, I love how she was able to take care of one of the girls, and she has dropped Zaya a ring step, and she was still on the almost on the apron kind of side, but it's still in the ring, even a couple like feet away, but not too far. And even then, Jordynne still takes over, and she's able to win the match anyway. And I was like, she just looked like such a powerhouse in this match. How she's able to like take care of both of the girls at the same time, or like take care of one, have her kind of knocked down, and then take care of the other one seconds later. And she's such a speed. It was just wonderful to watch, and I just loved it from beginning to end.
Yeah, I really did too. I thought it was great to again everybody talented in this one. I also was trying to wonder what busted Tasha open because
Hmm.
she was getting some good color, and it seemed to be almost like it might have been a nose. I think she might have got
Yeah.
hit in the nose or something, and that's where it was coming from. But there was a lot sprayed. If you look to the outside of the apron, there was quite a bit of color laying across the apron there from Tasha, but still a total badass throughout this entire thing that never once taken herself out of the action while that's going on. And I like the fact that they didn't stop it. They let them go, they let them do their thing,
Mhm.
so you were never taken out of the match itself. As for Ash by Elegance, I've got to ask the stupid question. With all the investment into Ash as a character, is this leading to Ash as a champion, or is this just what is this? Like, that's what I'm wondering because
Mhm.
does anybody going to get behind Ash by Elegance as the Knockouts champion or even in a position to defeat Jordynne Grace?
I feel like it's tough in the aspect of like she's brand new, so you don't want her to lose very quickly. But at the same time, if you go against Jordynne, think about it from this aspect. I don't think she has the experience that Jordynne has, but not only that, but the fact that Jordynne's such a powerhouse, how do you able to defeat her, Jordynne in that type of way? I feel like it will be a good showcasing for Ash and hopefully showing off a little bit more of the progress she's made, and she's made more progress in the ring by the time that this does happen. The only thing I could see happening will be I always forget his name. I know his name on Twitter's Iceman, if I'm not mistaken. But the guy at ringside with her, I feel like maybe he could be of assistance in that aspect. I think that could be the only advantage that Ash has over Jordynne. But I would not have Ash win over Jordynne. Not anytime soon. I feel like there's other people that could have that championship way before Ash could. So that's why I think it will be a matter of just like keeping her kind of like ringside, like a scouting, and kind of looking at Jordynne of like I could be your next threat, but I wouldn't put her in there just yet. I would definitely wait a little bit longer. Even if you do, I wouldn't see her winning, and I hope she doesn't win yet. To be honest, because I just feel it'll feel like a disappointment in that aspect, especially when you go against somebody like Jordynne.
Yeah, you could always,
Mm.
if you do have them go against each other, have it where her valet, concierge, whatever they're calling him there, something along the lines of him getting himself involved, thinking he's helping, but causes the distraction to Ash, allowing Jordynne the victory, and then Ash can take out her frustration on him for his negligence to cost her the match. I think it would tell enough of a story where you can make sure that Ash doesn't necessarily look like a chump in this whole situation, but you don't chump out your very dominant champion here, who I think is going to have an extremely credible competitor be the one to conquer her for the belt. So yeah, going to what Barry says here, he really thought the match didn't need Ash there. She distracted from a great match. That's fair. Although I did chuckle a little bit when she kept saying, I got to get out of here. I've been embarrassed. I thought that was quite funny. But at least Ash by Alex Lynch don't slip on the entrance like Mandy Rose did.
Bobby!
Bobby Stats throwing down the dirt there. Holy.
Wow.
I mean, the slip could have been quite entertaining. So, I mean, Ash slipped in the champagne. I think that would have been quite funny. So, but yeah, Bobby Stats. Wow. Zing.
That shocks me.
Yeah. Didn't expect it. Yeah, what a fun night it was. TNA sacrifice, thumbs up for me. Oh shit, we have a main event to talk about. Oh my god. So let's get into this because we have to. It's Moose versus EY Eric Young. I like Eric Young, and I was talking about this while it was happening. I still can't crack the problem with Moose because he doesn't do moves wrong, but he does them in a way that it feels like my TV is in slow motion. He seems to suck the life out of the entire arena when he steps out there. I don't know what it is. He's just like a persona vortex when he comes out. And I don't want to dislike Moose, but I don't like watching Moose matches. And I don't like when a card has had so much upswing momentum throughout the last little while that then you get to a match where you're like, oh yeah, this is still to go kind of thing. And it just brings you right back down. Like, I know that I'm a firm believer in champions going on last, but I'm sorry. You have a true champion in Jordynne Grace right now, and those matches would far better suit the main event than anything Moose brings to the table. That said, Eric Young, he did everything he could. There was some good stuff put in by him. He did everything he could to try to get the best out of this match. Even when Moose falls, he looks like he's falling in slow motion. How does a guy that weighs as much as he does and as tall as he is look like he falls in slow motion? Like, if I take a brick and a feather and drop them at the same time, I know which one's going to fall first. And yet somehow Moose is the only brick on the planet that will stay floating in the air longer than the damn feather will.
That comparison, I will not be able to forget about.
And yes, I'm flipping that.
Oh my god. Sorry, I've been sick of that. Didn't help it. Oh, and it just, you said that, and I remembered during my tapings here in January when I went, there was a match. I don't know if it was Laredo Kid, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was a high flyer, and I keep forgetting who it was. But it was Moose, which is that person. And let me tell you, I realized, like, during the match in itself, how slow he was. And, like, I feel like he definitely sucked the energy out of the venue because everybody was so quiet during this match. And it was more towards the end that he got a reaction. And I kept thinking, why is he so slow? And I don't know if it's because he was going against somebody that's more like a high flyer and, like, faster than him that makes him look even slower than he is. But, and then you said it, and I was like, I was thinking, why do I feel like I'm not motivated to watch this match? Because don't get me wrong, I love EY. And I was like, I wish EY would win this, but I know he's not going to. Because I was thinking, not only do we have the system kind of building up in that aspect. So they're not gonna have Moose lose anytime soon. That was the first thing. So being that the sister just won the championships tonight, that's gonna help with Moose being champion already. And thinking of that, I was thinking Moose just won that title not too long ago, so I don't expect him to lose that anytime soon. So it hit me so bad. And I was thinking, I wish Eva would just win this because it would just feel so much better at the end and more satisfying. And then I was thinking at the end too, it's like the only time it felt very little that EY got any offense and like he was able to like avoid one of the chops from Mills because he was able to like dive out of it. But we had the system coming out, give some assistance. They pulled out the referee, and then all of a sudden he goes after them. But then here comes somebody to hit EY from behind. Of course, it was Kaz, and I was like, no, why is everybody going against him? I definitely wish he would win this already. But I can feel it again here that I felt terrible that EY was in this match because it hurt him at the end of the energy. Like it definitely sucked the energy. I feel like there was barely any reaction for this at the end. And I hate that EY had to be part of the ring when this happened. But his moves is so slow. And it really bothered me so much at the end. I was thinking, and this is the world champion. And it's like, and obviously with the system being kind of like at the top of the mountain right now, I don't expect them to kind of like lose that momentum like that. So it's like, we're gonna get this for like a month or two at this point. So it's like, I don't want it. I don't want it. Can I rewind this and get EY as champion instead? Because that would have made me a lot happier.
The only
No.
other thing I can think is that they continue to build Nemeth that direction and to take it off Moose. But
Yeah.
I think people could get behind that, but we'll see. But Moose wrestled against Kushida in Florida, is what Bobby's saying, and he wants to know who's next for Moose, and that's where I'm thinking. I'm like, who do you have that's a baby face that you can build towards that epic babyface moment of dethroning the heel champion? And I think right now Nick Nemeth is in a spot like that. I would normally say Josh Alexander, but again, with having taken a loss to a heel Hammerstone, it kind of almost takes him out of that picture momentarily. So I'm not sure at the moment, outside of building Nemeth towards that direction, I'm not sure who else I would say is next for Moose. I mean, I guess anybody that they don't really want to have an exciting match. That's about it.
And it kills me to think about that. And it's like, I feel whoever is next is still gonna be like somebody that's faster than him, so it's gonna make him even look small, like slower than he was. And I was like, geez, that bothers me so much. I was trying to see if I could find the picture from the match in itself, but the only time that I ever enjoyed him during the tapings for in Florida was when we had those like multi-person matches because he was able to tag in and out, so his partners could pick up the energy that he was lacking. So it was like when we had that one-on-one match against like that, and I was like, gee, she was so quiet and slow, and I was like, I why do I have him as world champion again? Because somebody explain this to me because it bothered me so much.
Bobby saying maybe someone from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Bobby, you're just praying that they go ahead and get the original bro over in TNA to go up against Moose.
Oh no! Oh no! We're not doing that. No, we're good.
He can
I'll
stick to
keep
New
Moose.
Japan and MLW, I guess.
No, I definitely don't want that one over here. Please keep him over there. Sorry, Mel and Aldra. Keep him there.
Although, what was Bobby? What's the name of the dude that we got to watch last time? Oh, big bad dude Tito. Is it Bad Dude Tito? Is the name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Bad Dude Tito. That would be a good one to bring in. I mean, if you're gonna bring someone from over that way, Bad Dude Tito is all kinds of cool. I would get behind Bad Dude Tito going up against Moose. At least to watch Bad Dude Tito maybe slap him around a little bit and teach him a lesson. So.
Yeah, it's just gonna be tough because I hate having somebody that's good and that's likable in that position against Moose. It just yeah.
So to just keep feeding him like whatever enhancement talent you can find in the local area for now until you finally got the person to pull the trigger with and be like, here we go. I know the writing's on the wall. I know we're gonna change titles here tonight, but we promise you it's worth the wait. It's worth it. Things will get better from here on in. Moose will just be sitting on the sidelines watching and observing. But yes, that was TNA Sacrifice. I want to say that not as a whole show, it wasn't quite as strong as last outing, but it was still strong. I enjoyed myself throughout. There was a lot more ups than there was downs for the little nitpicks that I did, and for Moose still being the champion, I'll still give this a very passable grade and say that I highly recommend people check out this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I feel like the main event was definitely the only like downfall for me. And again, like I said, it just Moose is not even EY's fault or anybody else involved in this. It just the Moose energy was definitely it definitely didn't help me. I think the only reason why I didn't enjoy it as much was definitely the technical difficulties. It took me out of the first couple matches. That even though I enjoyed them, it just felt so weird to not be able to like watch them properly or even hear it properly either. So that was the only downfall. So, but other than that, I hope they're able to hopefully do some fixing behind the scenes so that way it looks better and be able to like rewatch those matches that we lost, or maybe I hope they publish it maybe on the YouTube channel just by themselves so they look better. But overall, I feel like the pay-per-view was really well done.
That's right. And then next time we won't have to blame Canada for all the technical difficulties.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
See?
It's all our, what is it? The beady eyes and flapping heads, that kind of thing,
I blame it on you Canadians. It's your fault this time.
We're terrible. We're terrible human beings, I know. But with that said, we're going to come to a end here on the TNA post show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and enjoying. And before we go, Astrid, where can the wonderful people find you and what you got coming up this week?
I know this weekend I have my interview with Zeta C. That's going to be on live on Body Sam's channel. So subscribe to Body Sam if you haven't yet. Once I do have a date and time, I'll probably post it on my socials. But other than that, you can find me again on Tuesday doing Taking Over with Ed, talking all about NXT, especially after a roadblock and on the road to Stayed and Delivered, where working here on myself, I was in not we I am working more towards getting our guests for Stand and Deliver weekend, so stay tuned for that. We got people for our somebody from our previous, somebody for our post show, so that's going to be exciting to watch. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, as it says there, astridpizarro. Threads and Instagram is astridpizarro20, and everything else will be on my YouTube channel, which is just like my name, Astrid Pizarro.
There you go. If anybody wants to follow me, there you go. Down below is where you can find me. You can find me here all over our local establishment, including this Sunday with Point of View. And it's Super Mario Day. So I'm going to be playing some Mario this Sunday on Point of View. So join me for that. And I've got some big news regarding upcoming Ring Respect stuff. So Thursday night's Ring Respect Radio, I announced yesterday that the 21st, we may or may not have an episode. I will most likely not be a part of it because I will be out of town for a conference. So we will either have a fill-in for Papa Smokes, or we'll do a pre-tape, or we might just take the night off for once that we haven't done pretty much ever and forever. We'll see. We're working on it. This coming Thursday, we're bringing back trivia because we have very limited time this month. So trivia is back this Thursday night. And the biggest announcement of all is while we were watching Sacrifice here tonight, I was talking to someone to make something happen. So on Thursday, March the 28th, I plead with you to tune in to Ring Respect Radio because our special guest on the show is the one, the only legendary Ross Hart of the Hart family, going to be joining us on Ring Respect Radio. So be staying tuned for that. We're going to be, again, continuing on some conversation when it comes to Stampede Wrestling there, when we got Ross on the show. Huge get for us. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, this is huge for me, a personal great. And I know for Papa Smokes as well, too. This is, going back more in our time, in our neck of the woods. So we're so excited to have Ross on the show. And that happened because of yesterday's awesome, amazing guest, Rachel Ling, who is one of the OGs of documenting wrestling in the world, period. She's been doing this since like the late 1970s, early 1980s, and has had her stuff seen within documentaries, books, magazines, publications. Awesome guest, and had so many wonderful stories. So go check that out. Be there on March 28th to ask questions to Ross Hart and join us for Ring Respect Radio. That's going to be it for us. I thank you all for joining us here tonight. Hopefully we'll bring you killer cuts the next time you see the two of us on screen very, very soon. But have a good rest of your night. Take care, everybody. We appreciate you coming out. We'll see you soon. Bye.